Hi everyone, welcome to this tutorial on command line basics. Today we'll cover fundamental concepts and commands that you need to know to get started with the command line. We'll also show Windows equivalents for each command. So let's dive right in. So first of all, what is a command line? The command line, also known as terminal or shell, is a text-based interface used to interact with your computer. Unlike graphical user interfaces, or what we call GUIs, the command line allows users to type specific commands to perform tasks. So some of the terminologies that are usually used are command line, terminal, and shell. A command line is a text-based interface itself, and a terminal is a program that opens command line. And a shell is a command processor that interprets and executes the commands. So some examples of shells are Bash, Zesh, and PowerShell in Windows. We are now going to dive into some basics of command line, and we shall be practicing them within our terminal. So first of all, let us start with our first command, which is change directory, cd. So we're now going to cd to our desktop so that we can create a folder there and open it in VS Code so that we can interact with the rest of the command lines there. So now if I do cd desktop, I can use tab for auto-completion. If I press tab, I'll have the auto-completion, then I can press enter. So now if I want to create a folder on my desktop, right now I'm on my desktop as you can see. If I want to create a folder, I'll just go ahead and do mkdir, which is make directory, and it is used to create a directory or make a directory. So I'll go ahead and call this cmd basics. This is the name of my folder. Once done creating the name of the folder, I can again go into it by using cd. In other words, it's changing the directory. So I'll just change the directory now to cmd basics. I can use the tab for auto-completion. I press enter to go to that directory. You can see I have it right here. Now I'll use code dot, which is actually used for opening any directory within VS Code. So code is a command for opening a file or a folder in VS Code, and the dot means current. So I'm actually now saying open with VS Code the current directory. If I press enter, you will see my VS Code will open my current directory, which was cmd basics. You can see the name up here. So now I have opened my cmd basics folder within my VS Code. I can now use the VS Code terminal to interact with the rest of the commands. So for those who don't know, VS Code has its built-in terminal, and you can actually open the terminal by going up here and click on terminal, and then you can click on new, or you can use a shortcut of control and a backtick. A backtick is a key under the escape on your keyboard. So you can use control and a backtick, and then your terminal will open. So now I think this is clear. Let me try to zoom in. So now, as you can see, I'm on my root directory, which is cmd basics. I can now start interacting with different commands so that we can actually get to test them while also visualizing them. I'll start with the first command, which is PAPWD. So PWD is, in full words, print working directory. So this will print our working directory, and this is going to be from the users, then your username, then desktop, then cmd basics, which is the folder we are currently now in. So for Windows, you can mostly do cd. You will actually get to have your path or your working directory printed. So, but I guess PW also works on Windows. You can try it and see how it works. So now let us look at how we can list all folders or files that are in our directory. We can use ls, which is list the directory contents. If we press enter, you will see that we have a lot of folders because I just went back to my root directory. But if I cd again to my desktop and then cmd basics and then clear my screen with the clear command, that is also another command. So if I come again and do ls, you can see I don't have anything because in my root directory of my project cmd basics, I don't have any folder or any file created. But later on we shall use ls again to see the files and folders there once we have created them. So let us go on the third command now, which is mkdir. We already did that one when we were still using our built-in terminal to our computer. So I'll do it again, mkdir, which is creating a folder. Then I'll create a folder called public. If I press enter, then you'll see my public folder was created. Again, if now I run ls, you'll see the content that is inside cmd basics, which is only public. So now we shall move on to also seeing how we can use mkdir to create multiple folders. We can create a folder called controllers and as well a folder called routes. So if we press, we can as well go on and create another folder called databases. If we press enter, you'll see that we have created now 3 folders at once using the mkdir command. So it can either create a single folder or as well as more than 1 folders. So now if we do ls, let me first clear my screen using the clear command, which is actually cls for Windows. So I'll go ahead and use clear, and then I can list again the content on my directory cmd basics. You'll see now I have around 4 folders. If I have a file there, it will also show. Let me now create a file. So we're going to look at now the 5th command, which is for creating a file. You will just use the touch command. So this only works for MacBooks or somebody who is using a shell that is compatible with Unix. An example of such shells are Git bash. If you already have Git installed on your computer, you have access to Git bash. Then you can open Git bash and work within it, or you can as well change your shell from VS Code by just coming here and now select your Git bash. You'll see Git bash listed, and then you select it, and you'll be able to use all these commands I'm using on my MacBook. So touch will create a new file on our root directory cmd basics. Then I'll call it index.html. So you can see now it was created on our root directory. When I'm talking of the root directory, I'm talking of the cmd basics. So I'll clear my screen again. If I run ls, you'll see now even the files actually show when you're using ls. So but using ls only is not enough to actually print all the folders and file on your computer, because there are some hidden files that it cannot show. So if you want to show even the hidden files, you run ls-la. So you can see it actually printed also some other files that were hidden. So but to be specific, we can create a folder or a file that is by default hidden and see how it works. So let us create one hidden file by initializing Git. Whenever we initialize Git, there is a hidden file created called .git. If I initialize Git, you will see that it has initialized an empty Git repository in this path, and this is the folder called .git. So if we list by using ls, you won't actually see that folder. But if you now list with la, which lists all files and folders, even the hidden ones, you will now be able to see the .git. You can even actually cd into the .git, and you could also be able to see what is inside. So going back to our root directory, we need to just do again cd, but differently. We need to just put there two dots, which is going back one level. If we put a slash and go back, do again two dots, that is going back two levels. Please be careful. On Windows we do not use forward slashes, but instead we use backslashes like this. So that is the big difference between how you can write your path in Windows and as well how you can write your path in MacBooks. So for Windows it's a backslash, and for MacBooks it's a forward slash. So if you want to go back one level, it's dot dot slash, and if you want to go back two levels, it's dot dot slash. So I want to go back one level because I want to return to the CMD basics. Let me clear my screen again and try to pull up this terminal so that we can move on now to the sixth command, which is removing a directory. So you can remove a directory by using rmdir. You can remove only one directory. Please remember to use your tab for auto completion. If I press enter, you see the controllers is gone. I can as well remove more than one folder by using the same command. We shall go ahead and use remove public and as well routes. If I press enter, you can see everything is gone. There is also another command that you can use to remove a folder called rm. So rm is our seventh command that we can use now to remove a folder. But guess what? If we try to remove a folder like this using rm, we shall get a warning telling us that database, that folder we wanted to remove, is a directory, and we cannot remove it using rm only. So we'll need to specify now a flag. Flags are additional functionalities that we can add to a command to help us achieve a certain thing. So if I put there ara, it means that now we can remove that folder. Ara means recursive, which means I can also delete what is inside that directory. It's like, well, I know it's a directory. Yes, I want to even remove what is inside. If I press enter, now I'll be able to remove that directory. But again, you will see most of the people like to do rf, then the name of the folder, like this, name of the folder. This means this is a combination of two flags. It's a combination of -r and -f, which means -r is the recursive and -f is false. It means you want to force remove even the children or even what is inside the folder. So in most of the cases you will use this. So now again, before we leave the remove can also be used to remove files. So we can remove that file index.html. For files we don't need any flag, we can just do index.html and the file is gone. So that is how we use remove to remove either a folder or a file. Now let us now move on to the eighth command, which is the copy. But before we use the copy, let us first create some folders because we want to see how we can copy from one folder to the other. So now I'll be having two folders. I'll create one folder called folder 1 and also create another folder called folder 2. This is actually simple to notice. Then I'll cd or I'll change my directory to folder 1 and creating some files. So now I'm in folder 1. If I creating a file like index.html, then I can as well, you can see it was created. You can as well use touch to create multiple files, index.css. and index.js. You can see all of them were created at once. Now I want to copy this folder, this whole folder into the folder 2. This one is simple. You can just do cp, and then you can specify the source. The source is folder 1, but before we do this, remember we are still in folder 1, so we need to go back one level to the root directory. This is actually going to make it easier for us rather than finding the relative path. So now we shall we shall do cp, which is copy, and in Windows it's copy in full. Now we can do cp and then the source, which is folder 1, and then we can specify the destination or where we want to copy that. If we press enter, it will actually copy folder 1 into folder 2, not what is inside folder 1, but the whole folder. Now if we press enter, we got an error. Folder 1 is a directory not copied. So yes, this is actually very nice that we also got this warning. So it cannot copy folder 1 because it is a directory. Therefore we need to do recursive again, folder 1, and then when you use tab, when there are two names which are actually almost having the same thing, it will print like showing you which one do you want. And then I can now specify the destination and press my enter. You will now come to folder 2 and you will see it copied the whole folder 1 inside. So now this actually gives us an assignment. What if we just want to copy the content that is inside folder 1 and not the whole folder 1? So now let's first delete our folder 1 that was copied in the folder 2. We can actually do this by force remove, using the recursive flag and the force flag, and then we should head over to folder 2, and then we specify folder 1 like this, and then we can press enter. You will see folder 1 which was copied inside was now deleted. So we just actually removed folder 1 without changing the directories. This is how you can do it. Alright, let me clear my screen. So now let's do the copy of what is inside. So I'll just say I want to copy this content. All these contents are files, so we do not need the recursive flag if they are files, but if they were folders, we would put there the recursive flag. So now I'll just do folder 1, and then a slash. For Windows it's a backslash. Then I'll put there an asterisk, which means I want to copy everything that is in folder 1. Then space, I specify now the destination where I want to copy it. If I press enter, you can see what was inside folder 1 was now copied to folder 2. Perfect. So now what if now we want to remove all these files that were copied in folder 2? It's the same thing. You can do rm, and now make sure you find that directory because you're still in a root directory. Then you will have to go in folder 2, and then you specify that you want to remove all the files that are inside. If you press enter, they will tell you sure you want to delete all the 3 files, and then you will specify yes, they will be gone. So that is how we can delete all the files that might be in a folder. But remember, whenever there is a folder, you need to specify the recursive flag or even the force flag together with the recursive, which is -rf. So let us now clear our screen. So now I was saying we want now to move instead of copying. So moving is mv, and now we can, for Windows, I think it's probably not just mv but full meaning of move, move. That is how you can use the same command on Windows. So mv for Windows, which is move like this, but for Mac it's mv. Now we can, it's the same thing like copy. So we can now move what is inside folder 1. We specify the flag for Windows, it's a backslash, and then we can move it to folder 2. If we press enter, we'll no longer see this, but we'll have it seen in folder 2 because we are moving. So you can see now this folder is left empty. We have moved everything to folder 2. So perfect. We have so far now seen 8 commands. So now let's head over to the 9th command, which is now cat. So but before we go to the cat command, I can also show you how you can rename a folder. You can rename a folder by using the same command as we just used, move. I want to rename folder 2 with a new name, which is, let me first write folder 2. Well, it's folder 2, and then with a new name, new folder, like this. I am renaming this folder to this new name. If I press enter, you can see it was renamed, and the content is still inside. By the way, I was just renaming. So renaming, you use mv, and for Windows it's move. Then you specify the old name, and then you will specify the new name here, right? Perfect. So now let's now go to our cat command. So let's now first create an index.html file in our root directory, and then within this HTML, let us create in some basic structure of HTML. This is a basic structure of HTML. So now if we want to visualize, let me pull up this. If we want to visualize everything that is in index.html using a command, we can do cat and index.html. We need to very well specify the extension. So we press enter, we'll see all the content that is in our index.html now visible in our terminal. So for Windows, we use type instead of cat. The type will actually do the same thing as the cat did in this terminal of my MacBook. Alright, now let's move on to the 10th command, which is now another very important command, which you're actually going to be using a lot of times. It's nano. It does almost the same thing with cat, but nano allows you to even edit. So there is nano, there is vim, and there is also others which are Emacs, and I don't recall any command related to this, related to nano or vim, unless if you have vim in your computer, in your Windows computer. But you can remember, you can as well use type for cat. So you either need to have vim in your computer, in your Windows computer, but for Mapbox it works out of the box. So if I do nano index.html, it will open the content inside index.html, but as well it will even allow me to be able to edit. I can come here and edit and put in an h1 tag, like this is a heading 1, and then I can close it like this, and now I can even save. We usually save using nano by doing Control, or it will tell you file name to write in, it's index.html, then you just press enter to accept, and then you will exit by Control X. And now if we are to look at into our index.html, the line we added, I am very sure it is there. You can see now our line was added by using the vim, by using the nano command. Perfect. So So now let's also introduce another thing. We can create now a new file called, by using touch, readme.txt. Then inside I can write in some words by also using a command. I can use a command called echo. So you just need to write echo. I think the same command also works in Windows. You can check and let me know. So it is echo, and then you specify the text. Let me say I want to just write in my name, and then with one greater sign or arrow you specify the file. You can use tab for auto completion. If I press enter, it is actually going to write in this file to the name John. I just opened this so that you can see that. If I press, you will see now it just wrote in John. If you want to append, you can bring back the same command or the history of commands by just doing uh, some keys. On our keyboard we have the left, right, top and bottom key. You just press the top key to actually move to the previous command, and you can always use again the down key to come back. So I want now to use the same command but differently because I want to append. Appending, you use two greater signs or two arrows, and then I want to append in my second name, so it means it will actually come to line 2. So if I press enter, you can see on line 2 the second name was appended. So that was, I think, our 11th command, and we have pretty covered most of the commands that we wanted to look into. And please also continue practicing this. You can still open, by the way, you can still even open using code a file that is already in VS Code. Let me show you. Let's say I have so many files in my project, and I already know the name of the file. I want to open it. So the name, let's say the name is called index.html. I can just do code index.html and press enter. It will actually open it, and I'll be able to change whatever things I want to change in it. So thanks a lot for your time. This is the end of our tutorial, and I'll see you again. Bye bye.